It's time.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm a little bit late from what the schedule said, but dinner ran a little long. What are you going to do? And we saw Kitten on the side of the road, and we had to stop to make sure. Well, basically, we were trying to see if it was feral or a stray. If it was, if I could approach it and pick it up without getting murdered. It would be living with us right now because my wife likes cats more than pretty much anything and anyone. The thing hissed at me and ran, so we went with feral, and I wasn't going to chase it through the Pennsylvania brush. So I will apologize. There will be some probably more ambient noise than you are accustomed to hearing. The family's all here, but I wanted to make sure I got a stream in for you guys today. So it's, Conquest and TB. It's about the only show in town right now. So speaking of TB, we're going to hop over there right now because my guild leader just put out a call for check platoons if you can fill blah, 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 because we want to get going on this right here. And they want platoons filled before we can do that. So we are at 5 of 6. Oh. And who's the hero? This guy. I'm the hero. I'm the hero. Okay, and I just sent a message in Discord letting them know that I filled it, so I get the praise and credit I deserve. Apparently I forgot to deploy because my score is horrific. But yeah, here we go. We'll get, I guess we'll get going on this, and then we'll do some, conquest, and I got to do my dailies. I was going to take us over to do territory battle on the other account, but it's all done already because cats are pretty great, which yes, they are. This one would have murdered me, and as entertaining as that is, or would have been, it's just, just not what I am going for. Just not what I'm going for. All right. Well, what are we fighting here? The Acklay. Okay, so if we're fighting the Acklay, that means I'm busting out the Inquisitors. It is beyond easy. I love it. Love it so much. So we got a follow while I was away. Captain Mateus gave me an offline follow. So Mateus or Captain or whatever you prefer to go by, we salute you and we thank you. That brings us to a grand total of 91 followers. 9 followers away from when my wife says she'll buy me a new chair. So as our wonderful friend Bones pointed out earlier, I will be on his podcast, and that is one thing I will be discussing. So hopefully we walk away from this podcast on Thursday with Bones over 100, and my wife has to go chair shopping. We will see. We will see. But I expect to be sitting in a new chair before very long. Hey, buddy, how you doing? I'm fighting every urge to call you by your real name, man. But I keep you anonymous unless you say otherwise. But yeah, new chair. Because what team does Beskar Mando go with? Well, Beskar Mando is cool. All right, Timmy, I will use your real name. Beskar Mando is kind of an interesting guy. He's not a bounty hunter, but he works with scoundrels and other Mandalorians. So if you have oh, we got an ad break going, but if you have like the new Bo-Katan, the Bo-Katan Mandalore, he belongs on that team. If you don't, you can put him with like Bosk and Fennec and any other combination of bounty hunters. You can put him with Dash Rendar and Han Solo or Chewbacca. He's very, 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 very flexible with where he can go. And like with other people, he's better on some teams than he is on others. So, but right now his home, in air quotes, is only if you have it, would be with the Bo-Katan Mandalore team. But when we get done here, we can hop over to a light side planet, and I can kind of show you some combinations. Well, again, it depends. The Bosk lead will not help him much because he doesn't have a contract, but so Beskar Mando's savior ability will work with all the bounty hunters because they all typically have the scoundrel tag. So like if Bosk is getting beat up real bad, Mando will take a bonus turn and use that Grogu, that Wonder of the Force ability to put damage immunity on. So that's where his place comes in. If you're looking to put him in a spot where he can really like up a team's damage, one fun combo I've seen with him lately is as a lead for Han and Chewie. That's a really, really, it can be kind of potently annoying with everything that goes along. But here, let's hop into light side and we'll pull up here. We won't start the battle, but we'll clear squad. Okay, so he should be, you come down here, scoundrel. I hope I didn't platoon him. No, here he is. Mando Beskar armor. So leader ability. For each scoundrel ally at the start of battle, excluding summons, they gain 5% max health, max protection, and offense. Whenever an enemy takes damage, they gain 2% turn meters. So even with him as the lead over, I mean, you've got all of these scoundrels that he'll fit in with. But then you can also... Oh, you see, but hold on. We need to go to a neutral planet. I'm sorry, because we're only seeing the light side. We need to go here. Here we go. This will be better. My bad. I didn't think it through. Did not think it through. We'll filter again. Okay. Clear squad. So now that we're able to see everything. So he can work with any one of these combinations of people, whether it's the lead or not. A good 5-man spot for him, if you don't have Bo-Katan Mandalore, You do dash with Bam because, he gives a lot of buffs as well, but like you can also swap it to have Mando. You can do Mando dash, and then like you could do Kara if you're not running Rebel fighters. L3. Who would be a good fifth? I mean, you could do something like that, depending on the content. Perfectly viable team. But also, he does work. So if you put him in here, I know he doesn't gain any of this stuff, but he can still, with any bounty hunter team, help out significantly. Now, a neat trick for him, if you put Fennec in the lead, at the start of the battle, she gains all this, but her contract is for 20 debuffs expired or expelled. So you put her in the lead, you put him in there, and then like you throw normal Mando, who I think I've got him in a platoon, so I can't do it, but you throw normal Mando, Cyan of Django, Grief, you do this sort of a combo. So picture the normal Mando and, Boss. So picture normal Mando right there. This team will kill Lord Vader because you will get... He'll put his damage over time out on everybody first move, and then if they've got Maul, he'll unload on somebody, which will trigger his savior ability. When he does his savior, it's going to dispel all of those damage over times and instantly fulfill the contract on the bounty hunters. So if you've got normal Mando, that means his insta kill will be ready immediately, and you can nuke out somebody from the team and start rolling on them. Typically Maul. You want to get rid of Maul. And especially because Mando can get around taunt, you don't have to worry about the tanks. You can get Maul out of there, and then once Maul is gone, Lord Vader becomes infinitely less effective than he already is. But yeah, you can do all kinds of wacky stuff with Bam. He's very, very versatile. Like I said, I've been seeing my Chewbacca's in platoons, but I've been seeing him with Chewie, and you could throw Dash and Kara in there. Like you can do a ton of stuff with him. But his main home right now is, if you filter by Mandalorians, you would do Bo-Katan, Mandalore, with Bam, Paz, IG, and OG Bo-Katan. Fennec lead is awesome. That team will kill Lord Vader. So it's a very, very cheap counter to Lord Vader. Now, Datacrons can have some effect on things. And another team, if you don't have Bo-Katan, Mandalore, but you have Maul, you throw him in with the other Mandalorians. This is a great team. This is like the Mandalorians. Now, nowadays, these guys have been replaced with like Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando, so they have a dark side Mandalorian team. But yeah, very, very versatile character. Very, very. His biggest use is the savior, though. I mean, to be honest with you. Like, if you want him there as an insurance policy, not because of his damage, but because of he can save. He'll save people with his Wonder of the Force. Right here. So dispel all debuffs on all scoundrel allies, equalize their protection. All scoundrel allies recover 20%, remove 20% turn meter from all enemies, which can't be evaded, and they get damage immunity. So this works on this will be triggered by any scoundrel ally, and it works on any scoundrel ally. We were kind of hoping they'd redo this, so it covered Mandalorians who aren't scoundrels, but that's just not the case. Yeah, he's very, very versatile. Very, very versatile. And he does work in the lead, too. His lead, I mean, gives just mass buffs to all scoundrels. So you're on a team of 5. Everybody's getting 20% health, protection, and offense. For somebody like Han Solo, that's a huge amount of offense. For high offense characters, they're just going to hit even harder. Your tanks are going to be thicker. Yeah, TB, I mean, we could just go all the way out of here to my full roster and look at, so you can see everybody that's not in platoons already. But like, you filter by scoundrels. So like, it covers, Emphas Nest is another character. She's a random one. She doesn't really have like a dedicated home, but she's one that can go anywhere. But like you look at all the scoundrels. This is all scoundrels that he'll buff as the lead or plug into their team. Well, I've also got a little fish account, my friend. So this is my big fish account, and it's not even 111.7 is, I know it seems like a huge number. This is a couple million short of the biggest fish in the game. So, but yeah, he's a very, very versatile character, and he is very important because he has this ship. So you need him to have this, and you need this to have the executor. So, very, very good character. Lots of uses. But yeah, right there. This is the main thing that it's kind of his main purpose. All right, where were we? What did we just kill? We killed the Ackley and the whatever he is. The other guy. And now we got to kill this dude. Yeah, I mean, the good thing is a lot of the things that he'll go with, or that you need to put him with, you're going to need for other stuff anyways. So, depending on what GLs you're targeting, like Fennec is a GL requirement, Bosk, there's a lot of ways you can go. Because, yeah, literally all the other pilots that are needed for Executor are all scoundrels. So it all works. It's all fantastic. What the hell am I doing here? Oh, I'm fighting that thing. So I need that. And I'll bring Piet. And I will bring... Where are you, Crayon? Where's my Crayon? There he is. All right. Well, I mean, after you get Jedi Revan, you will... Oh, thank you for the follow. That takes us to 92. We are 8 away from the chair, people. 8 away from the chair. My wife just gave me a look. She's sweating. Well, after you get Jedi Revan, you'll go for Darth Malak. That's your path. So definitely complete that, because as good as Jedi Revan is, Darth Revan's even better, and as good as Darth Revan is, you need Malak. And you need Malak for the frickin' Leviathans, so it all ties together. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Congratulations. I remember when I was going for Revan, for the Revans, it was it was quite the journey. But no regrets. One of the best characters in the game. So versatile, so awesome. But yeah. Bad kitty. But I mean, if you're going for scoundrels and bounty hunters and things like that, which you are obviously for the Executor, take a look at Jabba the Hutt for a GL, because well, you know what? We're just doing TB. We don't have a time crunch. Let's take a look at him together. Let's help our new friend out. So Jabba the Hutt, Galactic Legend. He is the Galactic Legend that, in my opinion, you should go for first. Now, with the state of the game. Yeah, the Malak event was, it was something back in the day. I'm sure it's a lot better now. But, so yeah, so you look at what's needed for him. You've got Aura Singh, you got Fennec, you got Boba Fett. Boba Fett's an Executor requirement. Han Solo, Outrider, what you need for Profundity. So you could go Executor, work on this, a little bit on the side. Make sure you get Jedi Knight Luke's probably your biggest barrier, other than farming up the new characters. But honestly, I think every single character on here is now double drop farmable. So Outriders and Jedi Knight Luke are going to be your two big hurdles, other than the obvious relic levels. But you'll get some of this done while working on Executor, and then you go to work on the rest of it. And then you're also going to be getting some Jedi Master Luke requirements done when you're working on Jabba, and some profundity requirements done while working on Jabba. So it's a nice big branch. And then I'm pretty sure, so say you go Jabba to JML. So we'll look at his requirements. They're not horrible. Obi-Wan, Old Ben, Jedi Training Race, C-3PO, Double Dippin', Mon Mothma, Chupio, Jedi Knight Luke. See, so there's some crossover. Han Solo, crossover. There's some decent crossover here. So now you look at that, and then you hop over here to the solo journeys. Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you're getting Dash Rendar, then you can work on Talon, and you can work on Mara Jade. But so you get Outrider, you get Dash Rendar. So Dash Rendar. So say you do that path and you go Jedi Master Luke, and then look at what you're doing Jedi Master Luke. You get a bunch of the requirements for profundity done. Not all the way. Admiral Raddus is obviously a Relic 9. That's a hurdle. Cassian Andor Relic 8 is kind of a hit. But, Mon Mothma, that's a double dip. Outrider's a double dip. Y-Wing's a double dip. The X-Wings here are a double dip. The Ghost, you'll get a lot of stuff kind of cross-mingling with each other as you're doing these events. And then we'll hop back over here and you look at Leia. So Captain Rex, Nisa, whatever. Those are newer characters, but I think they're double drops. Wicket, you need Ewoks to get C-3PO, so presumably you'll have him. Admiral Akbar Relic 3, not a big deal. You'll have him at something for Home 1 anyways. Lando, not a big deal. Scout Trooper's another new one, R2. Captain Han and Rolo, kind of same thing. They're not really needed for much of anything else these days, but Chirpa, another Ewok. Drogon, Commander Luke. Chupio, Bausch, Leia Organa. So you're already getting him or her for Jabba, so you're going to have her done. So, there's a lot of crossover here. So, if you play your cards right, and obviously with enough time, and if you spend money, of course, it gets even easier. But, you can find yourself unlocking just by doing this path, going Jabba, JML, and Leia. You could find yourself sitting pretty with 2 of the super ships and 3 GLs. And then by that time, you're also going to have a decent number of these requirements done. And then you could hop into Sith Eternal and get this knocked out. And, there's actually right now a case could even be made to go for Sith Eternal a little bit sooner, because you're looking at, you've got a couple of raid characters right here for the new Naboo raid. So there's definitely some crossover there. Sith Marauder, he's a pilot for Leviathan, so crossover. Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be needed. Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to be needed for the new Ahsoka Tano. There's a little bit of crossover here. You'll see a lot of it. And then, this guy. There is no hard and fast set time for when you should have a GL. You said you're at 1.6. If you aren't close to unlocking one by the time you're at 3, then you probably need to focus a little bit more, would be my guess. That's just a rough guess that you'd probably need to focus a little bit more if you don't have a GL by 3 million. But it seems like you're focused. You seem like you know what you're farming. So I don't see that as being a worry. And I think you could have one well before 3 million. I think you could probably have one at like 2.5 or 2 or 2.25 even, maybe. But you've got a plan. You clearly have a plan, and just stick with it. And, these things are called journey guides for a reason. They're there to give you a guide. This is what you need to farm to get this character. And you're going for Executor after you're done with Malik. So you know, I think it makes sense at that point. I would go for Jabba because Jabba, I think, gives you a lot of branching off into other areas. It's very, very important. Really? Okay. Nothing wrong with going for Leia. There's nothing wrong with going for Leia. Leia is amazing. She's incredible. And yeah, there any yeah, and if you start walking into GAC at at 2.5 million and you've got Leia, you're gonna win a lot by putting her on defense. People at that level aren't going to be able to get past her. They're just not. It's just not going to happen. And then you look at Captain Rex and what he brings to like the Phoenix team. You're getting a huge Phoenix lifter. Your home one not going to be your main capital ship, but it's going to be better. Commander Luke and Chupio are a hell of a core for a rebel team. Yeah, perfectly acceptable to say, I'll go for Leia first. That's totally fine because then you're still getting the same crossover. Whether you're going for Leia first or you're going for Java first, you'll still get the same crossover between a lot of the other things you're already working on, like Bausch and stuff like that. So yeah, there's no wrong decision to be made. If you're having to choose between these two, you're not going to make a wrong decision. These two are awesome. Because you're probably still today looking at, this is your number one all-around best GL right now. These two are probably tied for second, and there's some people that would make an argument that say Jabba or her are best. Well, you're okay, but again, listen to what I said. You're not going to make a wrong choice. If your choice is between these two, flip a coin. If you're having trouble deciding, flip a coin, and then whichever one is heads and tails, whichever side the coin comes up, go with that one, because you're not going to go wrong going for either of these guys. You're just not. There's Lord Vader, in all honesty, in this list of 8 as it stands right now, this should be your last priority. Lord Vader should be your final priority, but I would go either, one of these two first. So say you do Leia first. Cool. Then go to Jabba, then go to JML. And then from there, you can go almost any direction. Yeah, you're not going to make a wrong choice. Especially, your roster better than I know your roster. And if your roster says that you're closer to Leia, then you're closer to Leia, and that's who you should go for. I mean, that's just the simple fact of the matter. You're not going to make a wrong choice. Yes, and Narabus makes an excellent point. For GAC especially, your ships are probably going to be the difference maker. A lot of GACs are won and lost in the fleet battles. Did I finish up here? I sure did, because we are not even going to waste our time with that fleet battle. All right, on to Felucia. Wow, what a fast Chimera that is. I never use Leviathan here, but since my guild is just like, don't even waste your time with the fleet battle in the dark side zone, might as well. Sweet. Well, and if you're doing Marauder, then you're getting Bad Batch, and the Bad Batch are a requirement for Lord Vader. So you're getting crossover there too. Yeah, I feel like you're in a. I feel like you've got yourself a really good plan. I feel like you've got yourself in a really good place. Having to choose between which GL you're gonna go for is be like, oh, I'm close to multiple GLs. That is a wonderful problem to have. Well, no, not necessarily, but if you're gonna go for Lord Vader one day, you're gonna have if you have three of those of the four done that you need for him, you know, you're in a good spot. But yeah, only if you're only farming Marauder for the fleet, then only farm the three you need. But that's three characters you'll have farmed for Lord Vader down the road. That's all I was saying. Is you don't need to worry about farming the other one unless you've got nothing else to farm or you're actively working on Lord Vader. Who's the one? Who's the one that's not needed? Is it Wrecker? Is it Wrecker or is it Echo? It's Echo. See, now, if you want them to be functional outside of just the ship, you're going to need Echo. I guess that's the hitch because Echo's kind of the engine of that team. Here we're gonna snooze the ads. Um, yeah, it's kind of a shame it's not Wrecker, but because like in three-man teams, if you're three-manning in GAC with the Bad Batch, you actually leave Wrecker out. You go with Hunter, Tech, and Echo. Um, but yeah, Echo is kind of the guy that makes the team work. He's the big debuff guy. Um, but also Bad Batch just aren't quite what they used to be. So there is that also to kind of keep in mind is that they were a very heavy staple counter for a lot of teams there for a while, and now they're kind of they're kind of there. Um, you know, a couple of them get used plug and play for like you can put Echo with Ray with depending on the datacron, and it can have some neat effects. Or you can put like Tech and Echo with like Queen Amidala and get some cool things. I think the only reason I think they haven't put Crosshair out is because it'll kick Omega out of the team because she's already kind of not great. And then if you've got the fifth member of the Bad Batch there or the sixth member of the Bad Batch there, I think she'll definitely get the boot. And then it's like, then what? Then they've got this character that they did as a marquee that they made us farm, and then she's just nothing. She's kind of a nothing burger, anyways. But yeah, they need to put Crosshair out. I'm kind of hoping they do Crosshair with both Bad Batch and Imperial Trooper tags. That would be awesome. That would be really awesome. Okay, so What do we want to use here? You know what? We'll use... I was thinking about the Mandalorians, but we can use them on the light side too. So we'll go ahead and roll with SLKR. Yeah, could also be, and he'll definitely get Clone Trooper. He'll definitely get that tag too. But yeah, um, yep, that's exactly right, Nervous. Yep. Yeah, there's a lot of characters they kind of get kicked out of their homes when these new characters come along. Well, and then we've got, like Clone Sergeant and Commander Cody don't really have homes. I mean, technically, I think they were supposed to be the 3-man team with C-Rex, but then people were like, well, he's better with old G Rex and with fives, Easy, Sammy. You're okay, buddy. Ooh. Well, I have to do that so I stay alive. Yeah, but I don't even know when, with the release schedule being what it is for Tano, I don't even know how they would get us a Crosshair anytime soon, Like, we've got all these other characters coming that are going to be needed for Balin and needed for Ahsoka. Like, I don't know where Crosshair would fit into that release schedule. All right, we're going to go ahead and hammer this out. So I don't accidentally use Cal on a mission that's not this. So we are going to remod, as we always do, and pulling the mods away from these two. We go for pure survivability and a little bit more speed than typical, but we want her armor somewhere in the neighborhood of 75. I've never had a problem with her being at 74.8. So somewhere, stats looking like this, you'll be just fine. And then Jedi Knight Cal, we do this loadout. So we're pulling mods off of a ton of characters to make this work. But you want his potency very, very high, a little bit faster. And, I know he's losing a little health and protection, but that's fine. This was a method, or the method, that we adopted once we saw Scribe, the great Scribe, did a video preaching the power of potency on Jedi Knight Cal, and ever since we adopted it, our success rates have gone up much, much higher. So first move with him is you always pass turn to Seer. And then you go ahead and throw that up. And then here's hopefully where his potency comes into play, because once you've done Whirlwind Defense or whatever this is, Windmill Defense to pass turnover, you're going to come here to Whirlwind Slam. And then with Potency, you land those debuffs, they're shut down. This is Territory Battle. So yeah, this is a guild event. This is the special mission to unlock Zepho, the bonus planet. And then once you get Jedi Knight Cal's insta kill, take out the healthiest one, and then you want to make sure you have this ready to roll when you go into the next phase. So just alternate between this and crossguard. There we go. And then same thing, pass the turn meter over. Oh, we got an armor shred, but we only stunned the Purge Trooper. And then insta-kill her. Boom. And you're going to win. There should not be enough damage from either of these two guys to even pose a threat. But, you know, you can throw it on auto if you want. Totally fine. But, you know, sometimes the computer's dumb. Play it safe. And I got to use her big move. Oh, yeah, you're probably doing, like, Geonosis Territory Battle, right? You'll get here. You'll get here. Either your guild will move up to doing this, or you'll move to a different guild at some point, probably. Yeah, you'll get here. You'll get here. Okay, so we need to go get everybody's mods back. And I know I don't use hot utils. I tried. I couldn't figure it out. Couldn't figure it out because I'm old, I guess. I don't know. But I could not make it work. And there you are. I wonder if one day they'll either redo her look to make, or I suspect they'll give us a new character where we get her bald look from Survivor. Because, yeah, that version of Seer, that version of Seer was freaking awesome. But I suspect that'll be a character one day. All right, so now let's get Geo and Hoth. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, don't worry. You'll get there. The Rise of the Empire Territory Battle is not going anywhere. It's going to be around for a very long time. All right, this is my favorite part of this game. Getting stuff back where I took it from. Thank God I only have to do this every couple of weeks. And Just plugging holes, plugging holes, plugging holes. So sorry, I know this is thrilling stuff, but just bear with me. Did this come off her? I don't feel like that came off her. Yeah, you need you need Inquisitorius to unlock or to be able to do the Riva bonus mission. So we'll be doing that and the Bo-Katan mission tomorrow evening. We'll be hitting that up again, going to unlock Mandalore, the planet, the bonus zone. When did I take a mod off of B1? Yeah, whatever. I'm not sure what I probably took that for a Gungan, to be honest with you, because I did the Jar Jar thing. Yeah, his I definitely gave to Jar Jar. His 2 speed mods are on Jar Jar, so they'll be sharing. Unless I have something to replace him with now, but... yeah, him and Jar Jar are just going to have to share. Oh, yeah, Finn. We stole from Finn. Good Lord. It is raining hardcore outside my house right now. Welcome back. Sorry, I completely missed the ad break because I'm so mod focused right now. Want to make sure I get everything back where it belongs, and we need a health. I mean, we don't need, but yeah, there we go. She can have any one of these. Uh-oh. All right, well, we have a thunderstorm out right now, so if I vanish suddenly, it's because we lost power, which probably won't happen because we've got a pretty stable power grid here, but there is thunder and lightning going, so just FYI, if I vanish, I vanish. And depending on how long it takes for the power to come back, I may or may not be back. So just so everybody's on the same page. We got a hell of a storm. I've been hearing the rain. All right. I think we're okay. Let's get back to the... yeah, I mean, Inquisitors aren't as endgame as they used to be. But they're probably... I mean, let's just be fair. They're probably a top 10 team. Non-GL, because there's 8 GLs, but... yeah, they're probably a top 10 non-GL team, but only with Riva. Only once you're able to do the third sister mission here and get her unlocked. After with her, then yes, they're absolutely an amazing team. But with Grand Inquisitor as the lead or one of the others as the lead, they struggle to reach mediocrity, but Riva's a very transformative character for them. So it is worth farming the Inquisitors for her. That is not even in dispute. Yes, and for the Omicrons and everything else that needs to go into them. Yeah, I put, when Riva was a long ways off, but we were still trying to make use of them in TW, I put Omicrons on Grand Inquisitor, and I'm not saying I would get a refund if they'd offer it, but I would totally get a refund if they would offer it. I have so many other characters I would rather put those on at this point in my life. But, back then you had the tools you had and make the best of it, I guess. Whew. Dang. It is a rare day that Profundity gets 3 bonus basics. Yes, the Leviathan is a very expensive ship to get. Very, very expensive. The fact of the matter is, though, in all likelihood, by the time you would want to be in a position to have him or to have that ship, is there's probably going to be a better ship out that you'll maybe even find yourself closer to, just because of the nature of the game and how things come out and how things work. It would not shock me if the next ship is Endar Spire, like light side, if they do something along that line. So we kind of have we have the Profundities kind of sort of in a made up world, the counterpart to the Executor, and then what's the Leviathan's counterpart? It would kind of sort of be the Endar Spire, I guess. It would not shock me if they go that route. And here's the thing: as expensive as Leviathan is, it can be countered very, very easily by Chimera. I've never tried to counter it with Profundity, but I'm pretty sure it can be done. Executor can counter. It's a very, very counterable ship. Do not use Jedi Knight Cal Kestis here. I didn't, bro. Don't yell at me. But yeah, Revan's ship is kind of a pain to get. Yeah, it's a pretty big ask when you look at what you need to do to get it. It's a big ask. It really is. But it is also worth having. I mean, I guess that's important to point out. It is a ship that is worth having. That's a pretty big mountain to climb. That ship, yeah, yeah. Do you want those opened?
No, I just wanted to see how hard it was raining.
I can tell you, it's raining pretty good, Mom. I can hear it. My mom's in town. For Sammy's birthday was this past weekend, so she flew out to spend it with him, as she always has. Who do I want to use for my 5th? Yeah. Well, and see, yeah, that's the nasty part about the Leviathan is if you weren't here for those conquests to unlock the ship and the character, when they were originally in the Conquest, and you can maximize it. Like, you have to deal with the proving grounds or buying the shards from the shops and stuff like that, and then you're looking at an even lengthier unlock process. Not to mention the Relic 9s, not to mention all the other stuff that goes into it. It's a very very expensive ship. And yes, there is some crossover to some other things by getting that ship, but it's not as much as you get from other things. It's a very very pricey ship. And as pricey as it is, you would expect it to just be like you put it on defense and the only thing that can counter it is another Leviathan. And that's not even the case. Like, with, a Chimera with Scythe and with TIE Defender will take it down. What am I even doing here? Yoda, sure. There we go. Yeah, 20 shards a month. Yes, Chimera is awesome. I would actually, like, if you put a gun to my head, I would say Chimera is, and I know the list isn't very long, but I mean, Chimera probably deserves a spot in the top 3. And I'm not sure who I would kick between Executor and Leviathan, but you could definitely make an argument that Chimera belongs in the top 3. And Negotiator is right there too with Marauder. They did a really good job bringing some good boosters to those fleets. Yeah, Chimera, like, when you're starting out and like you get the basic ships, you get Executor, Home One, and Endurance. Like, Chimera should be the next thing you're going for. It's a massive upgrade over the 3 base ships. Massive. Yeah, yeah, Empire. So, I mean, if you've got the ideal fleet, your starting lineup would be Darth Vader, Scythe, and the normal TIE Fighter. And then you would reinforce with TIE Defender and then reinforce with TIE Interceptor. Like, that's the main key 5-ship lineup. And then, of course, TIE Defender's kind of a long farm. But you also, you farm Iden. Iden's a great character in GAC. Oh, wow. I haven't seen Ninth Sister here in a while. So yeah, you would basically, once you get Chimera, just whatever ships you've been running with the Executrix, just transfer them right over. TIE Bomber and whatnot. But Yep. Exactly what Narabus said. Yeah, there's unfortunately there's a decent amount of barriers between new players and a lot of the best stuff. Even when we're talking about things that were released a couple of years ago, it's still difficult to get your hands on Scythe, because if you want to get Scythe, you need to farm Inquisitors, because you need to have Grand Inquisitor, and then you need to do Proving Grounds for the Scythe. Like it's a whole thing. There's no fast in easy way, unless they do a light speed bundle for any one of those things, which is always possible. They definitely it's definitely within their means to do those things. Okay. So I always kind of have a debate, because I'm going to end up leaving some good teams on the sidelines, and I always like to try to have a little bit of fun when I'm doing these things. And I definitely always like to try to make this team a little more useful than it is. It's really, outside of the raid and GAC, these three just, it's kind of hard to. No, I would farm. Well, no, okay. If you're going for Executor, ignore every other ship until you have Executor. But Chimera is also easy to get, because you just need to have Phoenix at a high enough level and Rebel ships at a high enough level. So it's not something that is super expensive to get. But if you want the best lineup, and Scythe is a part of the best lineup, the Scythe part of it all is just going to take you some time. Everything else involved in it is very gettable. And the counter works. It's not optimal, but it does work without Scythe. Yeah. Definitely just focus on Executor till it's done. And then, if as you're farming other stuff, like Chimera, if you're farming Profundity, you'll unlock everything you need to unlock Chimera, and you can just go into the journey guide and do it whenever. Like it's not a big deal to deviate to unlock it. It's just don't take resources away from your Executor farm for the sake of Chimera. But as you're getting other stuff handled, you'll be able to take care of Chimera. Hey, oh, you sons of bitches. Yeah, I just cannot. Like, this team, outside of all the stuff and all the things, is just not freaking fantastic. Well, I just got Jar Jar Binks like yesterday when the event came back. Um, Jar Jar is a cheaper team. You only need the Gungans at R5. They're also a current raid team. You know, if you guys are doing if you're doing the battle for Naboo, I think Bo-Katan is, well, I haven't had Jar Jar long enough, or like had him in GAC to see like the transformative effects that Jar Jar is going to have on the team. But I do know like the Sith trio was countering the Gungans in 3v3. They both teams have a lot going for them. So it's really hard to say one way or the other. Gungans are a cheaper team though. Like that's a team you could get done faster. Because I don't think all of Bo-Katan's requirements are accelerated yet. They might be, but I would need to check. I don't know off the top of my head. But I will say the Bo-Katan team is my favorite team to play right now. It's just a very fun team. And the Gungans are too. Don't get me wrong. The Gungans are a very fun team. You need Bo-Katan to unlock Mandalore and Rotes. I mean, right now the Gungans are more valuable. I'll say right now the Gungans are more valuable. By the time the Naboo raid ends, who knows? Whereas the Mandalore unlock mission is kind of always going to be there. So, there's definitely always going to be value to having Bo-Katan. Bo is a very reliable counter to Lord Vader, especially in GAC. Well, actually, kind of only in GAC. She doesn't really work in TW against him. Scion of Django's better. But right now, the Gungans. I'm going to say if you were looking to do something right now, it would be the Gungans. It's a cheaper farm, Relic 5 to unlock the event, 4 characters. But they're both very good, very valuable teams. But I would say the Gungans right now probably have more value just because of the connection to the Naboo raid. I added Jar Jar to the lineup, and I saved my Gungans. I saved that raid attempt with my Gungans till I had him unlocked. And I went in and put him on the team and hit auto, and they got max score on full auto, which I don't have any other team that can do that. So there is that. But yeah, Gungans, cheaper, and probably more relevant right now. And yes, they have been in every Monday Galactic Challenge for the last month, and I don't know if that's changing anytime soon. I haven't seen the new data mines to see, because we heard in advance that they were every Monday Galactic Challenge for the month of July, that they were going to be the featured team, and it seems like it's carried over into August now too. So, yeah, that might not be going away anytime soon. And like Boss Nass has got a territory war Omicron, makes him very good. Jar Jar's got the GAC Omicrons, makes them deadly there. So, they've got a lot of utility in a lot of different modes. Whereas Bo-Katan, she's got the Omicron for she's got the Omicrons for GAC only. I mean, they're good in other places, don't get me wrong, but it will probably change as soon as I have them ready. You're probably not wrong. You are probably not wrong. Because that is just how that crap goes. Yeah, I mean, because GCs are the primary source for Omicrons. So if you're not able to get the 2 Omicrons, every week, if you're stuck getting, one, that it's a serious dent in your roster if you're not able to get those Omicrons consistently. So yeah, I'm hoping the Gungan thing goes away, and I'm hoping that they, realize that they've also been making those things a little harder than they need to be. I really think they're trying to. I really think they're trying to push people to get like the GAC or the Galactic Challenge Omis. Yeah, if you don't have if you don't have the teams, but the other side of that coin is the Jar Jar event's running till like Sunday, I think, and then who knows when it's going to come back. So you'll have time to hopefully, depending on how hard you're hitting things, and let's face it, how much money you're spending. Hey, now that's not freaking cool, guys. Yeah, so we don't know when Jar Jar will be back after this cycle. I presume it's probably going to be a month or two. Uh, it's a lot of Kairos. Yeah, I think Jar Jar needed 500 Kairos total. So yeah, it's a lot of Kairos. It's a pretty big mountain of Kairos. Um, I mean that probably. I don't think it's as many Kairos for Bo, but yeah, I mean it probably makes them more expensive. But I mean they're definitely a great team. Like you won't regret doing it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how long their iron grip over the Galactic Challenges is going to last. Okay. So just double checking, but I think we've done all we can do. Oh, look, I can complete this one. Boom. That's 2 planets worth of platoons I've maxed out. And then this planet we don't do any stars on today. We'll 3-star it tomorrow. So we're at 93, 91. We'll go ahead and just deploy here. There we go. So let's take a peek how we are doing. 3 of 4. We might have somebody that still is trying to use Baby Cal. Because you can do this with Baby Cal. It's just much easier with Jedi Knight Cal. Oh, we got ads starting soon, guys. Just a heads up. We'll go get ready for Conquest. Yay. So doing Conquest on my other account, the new play experience that I started when I started this stream. I started leveling a new account up just so I could experience the changes that GC made, or CG. We've been using all these analogies for myself, and Conquest is already kind of a chore. Doing Conquest twice is even more of a chore, but looking at Conquest on an account that is small like mine, where I'm stuck in easy mode. I have no choice. I have to do easy mode. It's very, very frustrating because, the challenges are smaller and all this other stuff, but you don't get any shards. So you're doing the same thing at the level that you can do it at, and you don't get any of the core rewards that are kind of like, this is the reason you're doing the damn thing. It's kind of bullshit. It's definitely broken. Like, even if it was just the tiniest amount of character share, they're not even like in the scavengers. They're nowhere. So you're doing Conquest for gear, more or less, when you're on a smaller account. Ads are over. Welcome back, everybody. Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I do want to get to normal as soon as I can, just so I can start earning the real rewards. But I mean, it's the system where you don't get anything for easy is dog shit. And they're still trying to sell you a Conquest Plus and all the other shit that goes along with it. Like, they're still trying to sell you that, but you don't get any of the stuff. Yeah, what is the recommended GP for doing normal mode? Is it like 2.5? 2 mil. Yeah. Win with Grand Emerald Throne without using any Empire. So okay, so we have got to double dip on this because you don't have a choice. So we will do you. You need to live. We need you. Oh, Piet. And who else do we want? Normally I would bring Riva, but I think I need Inquisitors in the next sector, so I want to save them. We'll bring my own Darth Vader. We'll bring my own. Yeah, but I mean, at least in normal mode, you can earn the character shards. I know it's significantly reduced. Like, the first crate in hard mode is equal to the best crate. Yeah, Conquest is. I mean, I'm not the one to say this. This is I am quoting Arnold. Conquest is the most important game mode because of the characters, because of the ships, because of all the stuff that comes with it. Like, you need to have some sort of focus and priority towards Conquest. This is just the way things are. And I also understand that CG is trying to monetize it as much as they can, which is their right. Absolutely. This is a game. It costs money. They have employees to pay. They have medical insurance, blah, blah, etc. Whatever. Given its importance, it should not be as inaccessible as it seems like it is. It should be something that more people, that you're able to one, be competitive in, and two, be successful at, regardless of your GP and regardless of your teams. There's too many feats where it's like complete 35 kills with whatever, there's too much of that. It needs to be more general, especially in the lower, like if you want to make hard mode that specific, fine. If you're coming into hard mode, you should know what you're getting into. But for normal and easy, it should just be like, hey, whatever, get kills with a light side team, get kills with a dark side team. Like why are they putting you through the ringer, especially in easy mode where you're not getting the rewards? It's not well thought out, if you want my honest opinion. And why are you selling a conquest pass to people who are in easy? Like, if people are actually buying that, like, I would like to find those people and just like have an intervention on their behalf, because you're just fleecing people at that point. Like, I haven't bought the pass yet. I need to. But if you look at the normal mode pass, like, it doesn't have any of these shards at all. So no characters, whatever. It doesn't have Datacron stuff. It's got these gearboxes, and that's it. And it's the same price. It's the $10 and it's the $29.99. And it doesn't have any of the stuff that gives the value to the $29.99 pass at this level. I think it's got the Omicrons. I think it has the Omicrons. And there's gear and stuff that you need to level your account, but like, then it should just be a $9.99 pass that gives you these benefits in easy mode, because you're not getting any of the value, and it's the same price. It's horrible. It made me really, really mad. And very few things in this game make me mad. And when I saw that, it made me really, really mad. Because it just straight up is like, hey, if you buy this pass, blah, 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 and you get access to Proving Grounds at easy. No, like the value, I'm going to go on a rant. Bones would be proud of me, friend of the channel. Bones would be proud of me for going on a rant, but I don't want to go on a rant. But yeah, it's crap. It's absolute dog shit. So Rebel Fighters, potency down, Night Sisters. Okay. Oh. Yay, Zealous Ambition. Oh, that's right. I don't have Conquest Plus Pass right now. I'm having to spend my precious energy, which means I'm having to spend my crystals. Okay. So Imperial Troopers, potency down, Rebel Fighters. Okay. So my big rule for Conquest, if I can help it, it's not always possible, and especially when they're setting up feats the way they are here. When possible, I like to be working on multiple things simultaneously. So that means whether I'm working on 2 sector feats at once, or a global and a sector, or 2 globals, or whatever. It's not always possible to double dip, but in some situations it is. But I like to try to be gaining progress as much as I can, which is why I'm busting out this team. You'll also notice my Padawan Obi-Wan has the Omicron. It is an absolute luxury to put this Omicron on. You do not need to put this Omicron on, but if you look in every single sector of Conquest, There's one of these. Whenever an ally uses a special ability, there's one of these. Inflict one of these debuffs or get one of these buffs. You think that's on accident? That the Padawan Obi-Wan Omicron does all this? And that each sector has got one of these feats, and you think that's going to end with this conquest? I took a gamble that this Omicron is going to be an easy win button for me now and in the future. I took a gamble. It's a luxury. I got these feats done before I put this Omicron on, but it was also causing me no small amount of stress. Having to go and look up the characters and look up the strategies, and I just F it. It's already enough work. I don't need to make it more. Let's just figure it out. So that Omicron handles it. I don't know. We'll see, but I'm hoping investment-wise it keeps paying off. If it pays off for me for a year, fantastic. Yes, and I do get them fairly often. So yeah, potency down. Attempt to inflict potency down. So that means whenever I have one of my allies do a special move, it's going to put potency down on whatever enemy they're targeting. So, this is not the fastest one, but getting 7 in one battle is pretty darn good. So now he's going to get no, he did not get the debuffs. Weird. Okay. But he got him. And then she'll get him. And then, well, we'll just kill her. Or at least we'll do damage to her. And then there's that. And then, just spread them around as much as we can. Of course, she really benefits from ZA. So, there we go. So yeah, and I figure, and you're absolutely right, Sensa. I figure I'm at a minimum, I'm getting 4 Omicrons a week from the GCs. I'm getting Omicrons from here. It'll be fine. Which is, another reason why I need to buy the Conquest Pass, because it gets me more Omicrons. How'd we do on that? All right, so we got 11 potency downs that time. So, kind of a pain in the ass, but we're getting it done. And then where the double dip is coming in, I'm winning battles with Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan surviving. So I'm double dipping there. Also currently getting progress on that. We're doing the damn thing. Ugh, Ewoks. I like this team a lot. I wish these 3 felt better outside of GAC and outside of the raid. The other side of the coin is in GAC. I don't actually know how they feel because mine are always on defense, but I know how many holds they've gotten me. And I know what a pain in the ass they are to fight. So it has nothing to do with good. out of a lot of the, I've gotten a lot of players who are new to the game who have found my channel because I did that new player experience account. You, Sensar, coming across to me as somebody who has put some time into understanding things about the game. You're not, it's not a good or a bad. It's a size issue. It's an account size issue. It's what you've had access to and what you're able to get, because, unless you fork out a shit ton of money, there's no fast way to get anything in the game. So for you, it's just a time issue more than anything else, is you just don't have the time in the saddle to have gotten all this stuff. But I think you're going to catch up and probably surpass a lot of people very, very quickly. And I think just based on what you've said and how you've said it, I feel like you're probably going to be an account that is, you're going to punch above your weight. You're going to do more with less. Like, there's going to be people you're going to encounter that are going to have bigger accounts, and you're going to outperform them because you're thoughtful. You look at the mechanics, you look at how things work, you understand how things work, you have a plan. I think you're going to surprise yourself with how well you do. I think you're going to punch above your weight class, to use a boxing terminology. I think you're going to do just fine. But I also know that doesn't make things any easier, the fact of the matter is one of the big things I noticed when I started playing the game. The deck is completely stacked against smaller players, but there's a reason for that, and that reason is because they want you to spend the money. They want you to not be able to do things, and you see the path to being able to do those things is, just a little bit of moolah, just a little bit, put a credit card in and whatever, and I'll be able to catch up a little bit faster. I mean, that's the reason. And I spend money on this account, and I've spent money on, now that once I hit 85, I bought the Hyperdrive bundle on my other account. But, that's just the nature of the beast. And if people stop spending money on this game, the game will die. I don't want the game to die. And I thank God we have whales and krakens who spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands a month to have all the new shiny shit, and good for them. They're keeping us afloat. And will keep us afloat for a very long time. But I mean, that's the reason. Is you're going to be on the outside looking in. No, I don't like getting beaten Grand Arena either. If you had been here on Monday, if you'd found me a couple days earlier when I did my GAC stream in the morning, I thought I'd screwed it up. And by some miracle, my opponent had a rougher time than I did, and I got the win by like 30 banners, and I didn't get the full clear. But yeah, I hate, and it only became a possibility because I made a mistake. I misjudged a team, and just willy-nilly threw a team at something when I should have looked to see what the datacron looked like. I should have looked to see what the implications were. But I just threw one team at another thing because I was like, these teams I have left over can handle whatever. I just didn't have any appreciation for what I was facing, and I completely underestimated the final team. And I threw the stronger team that I had at the easier team that they put down, and put the second strongest team up against, and I was very, very mad at myself. I mean, I wasn't mad at my opponent or at the game. I screwed up, but I thought it had cost me the GAC, but I thought it had cost me everything. But I mean, I got lucky. And I came back and I saw the score, and I saw that they had gotten stuck. They actually got stuck on this team. They got stuck on Padam, on Quadme and the boys. I celebrated pretty hardcore. Not gonna lie, was pretty ecstatic that even though I had messed up, I'd still managed to pull off the win. And I hate losing, but I also don't mind when I get legitimately beat. I hate losing because of datacrons, because some people, datacrons are the one thing I will not I have not and will not ever spend money on. I just won't do it. I just won't do it. I refuse. And there's some people, like, you look at their Datacrons. Like, here, let me show you my Datacron page real quick. Since we're talking about, we're saying the dreaded D word. This is my Datacrons. This is all from grinding Conquest. And nothing but grinding Conquest and spending shard shop currency and stuff like that. Like, I've got 2 full rows +2 and 1 full row +2. I have had opponents who have had 3, 4, 5 full rows of both, which you're not getting without spending money. I refuse to spend money on Datacrons. I will buy these stupid packs. I will buy this shit. I will spend money on a lot of different things. I will not spend money on Datacrons. I will buy these, even though I don't really need to anymore. I can earn all of this stuff. It's not a big deal, but I will not spend money on Datacrons. And Datacrons, I'm neutral on them. Some of the effects are fun. Like the Bane Datacron was fun. The Sidious Datacron was an absolute blast. Loved it. Had a good time using it. I think things like that are okay. But these things where you just get crazy 250% defense stats, and you got it because you just, maxed out a Visa card. And it doesn't make you a better player. It just means you have more disposable income, or you just don't give a fuck about debt. I mean, it's one of those two things. Those shouldn't be the deciding factors in GACs. Quality of mods and relic levels and things like that should be the primary factors. It should not come down to whether or not you've got the right Datacron. Especially considering how hard it is to get the right Datacrons, because there's so many. You go to re-roll a Datacron because you want a certain thing, and there's no guarantee you're going to get that Datacron. There's no promise you're going to get that specific thing popping up. So I'm neutral on them because there's times they can be fun, but I will never, ever, ever spend money on them. Defeat an enemy with Sabine. Just looking ahead. Just looking ahead. Okay, we have just about run Quadme and the boys into the ground, so we'll have to finish this up later. Imperial Troopers, Night Sisters, Rebel Fighters. Okay, so good news about Rebel Fighters is we can double dip. And the way we double dip is we do a Leia lead. We pick Rebel Fighters. And we make sure Captain Rex is in the lineup because he is a global feat for getting kills. He also benefits from Zealous Ambition. So he hits like a mofo. He hits like Mike Tyson on steroids. I mean, just drops fools. And you know what? God fucking bless him. See, and I enjoy that part too. I enjoy looking at my opponent's teams. When my new opponent comes up, I'm like, all right, what do they have? Ooh, they have this, they have that. They don't have this. They're missing something here. I like looking at that stuff and being like, what can I do? Do I risk leaving something on defense that might give them problems, but might hurt me on offense in the long run? I like looking at that stuff myself. I like looking at it a lot. All right. So yeah, but then that's the other thing with Datacrons, especially like the current set, the one that's expiring here in a few weeks. You're looking at a situation with those where a couple of them are so damn powerful that you really are limited in your options with how you're going to counter it. Like the Jedi Master Kenobi or the Padmecron can be a pain in the ass if you don't have either the right team or you're missing the Datacron that knocks up against it, which would be, your own Padmecron or one of the SLKR crons, etc. SLKR is kind of the same way. If he's on defense, you better have the right counter or the right Datacron, or you're gonna be in trouble. And don't even get me started on the Inquisitor crons. The mass swarm thing with the Revacron on top of it all. Jesus, I mean, I am not going to be sad to see those go. It will not hurt my feelings when those ones are gone. They are overpowered. And I mean, think about the people that don't have those teams. Well, and then so you're seeing a phenomenon that you're unfortunately going to run into. And the simple fact of the matter is wins in most lower tiers pay more crystals than losses at higher tiers. And so what does that translate into? Well, that translates into people who will purposefully lose so they don't go super high, so they're able to have an advantage. And, there are people who would tell you, that doesn't happen. They're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. My one loss in the GAC this last week was to a guy who was like 12.5 million. He should be in Kyber 1. I'm at like 11.7, and that's only because I just added Jar Jar. Before that I was at like 11.5 or 11.6 or whatever. I added Jar Jar and remodded a bunch of stuff and put mods onto a bunch of characters. I can get into Kyber 1. I consistently bounce back and forth between Kyber 1 and Kyber 2. He should solidly be in Kyber 1, especially with the R9s. He had Jar Jar at high relics. He has everything at high relics. I don't have Afra unlocked yet. There's stuff I don't have. He had all of it and was chilling in Kyber 2 with a very, very large account. Very large. Almost 13 million. You should be in Kyber 1. And every freaking Datacron on planet Earth. So that guy, I suspect, is actually a bad player. This is what I think probably is. That guy was a bad player who, when he gets up into Kyber 1 and hits equal or better accounts, just gets face fucked, just gets steamrolled, and just gets kicked back to Kyber 2. That's what I think. But not only was he in Kyber 2, like, he wasn't even like a borderline on Kyber 1. He was like, he needed to win like 3 battles back to back, or, he needed to win 3 in a row to get kicked up to Kyber 1. So like, he was minus, he was like 100 off from the line or something like that. When he should be over the line. He should be in Kyber 1. But yeah, people want to take the easy, people want the easy crystals, and there's not much they can really do about that. There's not much they can do unless they put unless they make the crystal gap so big that, where they're paying 1,000 crystals for a win. And then, whatever. There's not much they can do about it. The system in GAC is not perfect, but there's not a whole lot that they can do to alter situations. Okay, so we need to get a kill with Sabine Wren. So whenever I have a situation come along where there's a specific character that needs to get a kill, what I do is I take Jedi Master Luke, put him as lead, and I just put 2 random Jedi with him. It doesn't matter, but it'll be these 2. And then I will grab my character that I need to get the kill with, in this case Sabine, and then I'll grab Wat Tambor. This is my cheese that I have been using for a very long time. especially like when there was a feat a couple conquests ago where it was Saw Gerrera needed to get kills. Well, my Saw wasn't at relics yet, but need to get the feats done to get the crates, to get the characters, blah, blah. So I've been using this for a while, and it's very, very simple. So you do this setup, and it can be whatever you want. But, you know, your first move with Watt, put your tank tech on Luke. And you put your tank tech on Luke, so he's always taunting because he won't, if he doesn't have a full team of Jedi, he won't taunt. And then you're just going to start using his special power to call the person you need to get the kills with to assist. And let him do his job, tank the hits. And then just have your Jedi keep calling the person you need to get the kill. Just keep calling them, and then eventually they'll get the kill. Oh, and of course, they took her out. Well, $7 million in carbonite? That is insane. I wonder if that's a person who quit for a while and then came back, and that just happened. It just happened to be bad luck that you ran into him. But that's crazy. You know, I'm not gonna. I don't want to waste the stamina. I don't know if she got the kill or not, but I don't want to. I don't want to make her weaker by winning that fight. So we'll just run it back. All right, we got rid of Anakin, so now we don't have to worry about the AoE. So hopefully we can now... You do that. There it is. Okay. So we got it done. That's crazy. Yeah, that makes me mad. That makes me mad. Like, there's zero wrong with going on a losing streak. God knows I've had my share of those in GAC where it's just nothing goes right. And oddly enough, a lot of them have seemed to have started when I was like, "Oh, I'll be a streamer and people will get to see my stuff and it'll be awesome." And then like I just had horrible losing streaks when I started streaming. But then but now it's kind of leveled out to where I'm winning as much or more as I'm losing. So but yeah, there's nothing wrong with going on losing streaks, but there's absolutely something wrong with being a player that like purposefully tank so you just have easier fights. I mean, that's just not even cool. Yeah, nice. See? And that's why I think you're gonna do very, very well in this game, because Savage, Omi at 1.6, you know what you're fucking doing. That is just an absolute killer character to have an Omi on at your level. I mean, that is, at your level, you might as well have a GL, to be perfectly honest with you. That might as well be a Galactic Legend with what you're going up against, because that is a guy that can solo a bunch of stuff. That is a guy that you can put on defense with a couple other worthless characters, worthless Sith or whatever, and you'll hold. It'll take a lot to kill it. Okay, so now it's what? Full squad of Galactic Republic surviving. Okay. So, Galactic Republic surviving. We've already ran Quadme into the ground, but you know what? We haven't broken out this big fella, have we? Yeah. You'll stick him under Traya lead at some point, or you can also put him as the lead. Like, you put him as the lead with Traya, and then have Talon in there. You'll run a lot of turn meter that way, because Talon will feed the turn meter to him, because he's taking so many hits and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to game it. But yeah, the Traya Omicron with Savage and with Nihilus was an absolute banger counter against the Gungans in GAC, even with Jar Jar. Like, it's a pretty deadly combo. Well, yeah, but even like, you're going to be able to go for a while before you need to worry about putting him with Traya. Like, legitimately, he is, obviously keep gearing him up as you can, get some more relics on him, but he's definitely a guy that can handle a lot of stuff. And you'll know when it's time to gear him, because all of a sudden things that he was killing before, he just won't be able to, and then you'll be like, oh, he probably needs some more gear. You'll get there. You'll figure it out. It won't be bad. Okay, so yes. Revan is I mean, you could do, like, for 3v3, do Revan, Malik, and Savage. That's dirty. At a lower GAC, that would be a dirty team. It would just be, that would be a nightmare for somebody. But Revan is also a character that can counter a lot of stuff. So, it's one of those things where you'll have to take it case by case. There's no Swiss Army character. Well, Bane. Bane is kind of a Swiss Army character. But unfortunately, you're going to have to go the proving grounds route to get Bane. But yeah, Revan Malik is a combo for, offense and defense. It's pretty excellent. Hey, Hippo. Oh, not much, man. Just playing the greatest game, or the greatest game mode in the history of games. Busted out TB, and now I'm just burning my crystals, refreshing the energy. Well, Revan and Malik are definitely fall into that category. Sensaw. Savage is great in GAC. He definitely loses something without the Omicron. That's just kind of the nature of the beast. But Revan and Malik, there's not an Omicron to be seen on any of them. Oh, Deadpool. But they're good in pretty much anything you throw them in. So, yeah, Revan and Malik are fantastic investments. What did you think of Deadpool, Hippo? I did my Jar Jar yesterday. I was a stubborn ass that I was just like, I don't need to wait for them to fix it, and I plowed through. But geez, it it took some doing. I almost just said fuck it, but I didn't. I stayed the course. No. Zetas on Revan are not a mistake. Zetas on Revan are a necessity. They're not a mistake. You did good. 2 thumbs up. I mean, I'm not going to go so far as to say I'm Zeta deprived, but I'm definitely Zeta light or Zeta lighter now. I think I have 1 or 2 left over after Jar Jar. I'm out of Omicrons though. Completely out of Omicrons. Let us take a look. So you'll see, here's my Darth Revan. I've got all of them. The Conqueror Zeta. Is very, very vital. Even if so, remove all of this, it's this bottom line. Nobody can mass assist on Darth Revan with this Zeta in place. Which means if you go up against Geos, you know how Geos mass swarm everything? They can't mass swarm Darth Revan. Iden can't mass attack Darth Revan. Mon Mothma can't mass attack Darth Revan. So, Galactic Legend, Ahsoka Tano assists all the time. She can't assist against Revan. This is huge. This is absolutely huge. Minus all this other stuff. This is absolutely huge. And then all this other stuff makes it even better. Yeah. All 3 of his Zetas are needed. And then The other fact is if you do get Leviathan, the more Zetas you have on the captain of the ship, the faster the ship is. So, yeah, all of his Zetas are very, very good. Very, 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 very good. But yeah, Conqueror, they're all needed. They're all needed. I'm not saying he's not usable without this Zeta, but he's definitely not the same guy without this Zeta. Dispelling Foresight is huge. And that's not even at the start of his turn. It's all Sith Empire allies. Dispel all Foresight. Dispel Stun and Ability Block and the gain Ferocity. Of course, that's only, I think, when he's in the lead that one kicks in. But yeah, no, Conqueror, you definitely want Conqueror at some point. Like, you don't have to make it your number one priority, but when you find yourself with a spare Zeta and you're not sure what to put it on, just remember that you don't have Conqueror and get it filled in. Good. I'm glad you like Deadpool. Yeah, that's I haven't had as much fun in a movie theater. Like that movie made me remember why I went to movie theaters. I haven't had that much fun in a theater probably since like Spider-Man No Way Home. So it's been a couple of years. And definitely haven't seen a movie in the theater in a long time where I've actively clapped and cheered when people have come on screen or things have happened. There was a lot I really loved about the movie. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I can't wait for it to, I guess it'll be on Disney Plus here before too long, right? Like here in the next couple of months, it'll be on Disney Plus and we can just watch it whenever. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Okay. Imperial Troopers and Night Sisters. Oh, Imperial Troopers and Night Sisters. What do we have here? Phoenix. Oh, this is a good team to throw Night Sisters at. Ooh, I really need to get him. I really need to get him geared up. I need these. I need 10 more of those, and I think I need 11 more of these. Oh, Speedy, thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Yeah, Hippo, that's the best way to do it. Just hammer through it as you can, and then and then when you have time and if you don't want to focus on farming datacrons, go back and complete the feats you can. Now, the really good news about Conquest is you don't need to complete every feat. Yeah, but you don't need to complete every feat to get red crates. So that we do have that going for us. Sith Assassin is fine. Marauder, if you have to choose between Assassin and Marauder, Marauder is a better choice. But Assassin, well, I guess Marauder is a pilot too. But Assassin has the Sith fighter, and that's kind of I'm not going to say the key ship to Leviathan, but it's a pretty important part of the Leviathan fleet. So, there's benefits to both. But yeah, Speedy, give the game a try. Play at your... And it can. Speedy is 100% right. Assassin Special can do a ton of damage. But yeah, Speedy, I'm always here. Stick with the game. Play it at your pace. Don't put pressure on yourself. Just have fun. Do the content you can, and just kind of grow and grow and grow, and and see how you're feeling. But the game is definitely worthwhile. There's That made me nervous right there. That makes me nervous. Who's missing? Who's missing a mod? Those mods sitting not on people. That makes me nervous. Who would be missing those? Raid character might be missing those. Oh, they might be because I'm modding him for offense. That might be why they're sitting like that. Night Trooper. Yep, I had a feeling. Yeah, and I mean, Marauder is also a pilot who's needed for Leviathan, and Marauder is needed for Sith Eternal. So definitely not a waste going after Marauder. Yeah, 100% well worth the investment there. Okay. No, yeah, I played in the old Grand Arena system. It's been a while. Sith Eternal was my first Galactic Legend, so it's been a long time. But Sith Marauder Relic 7. And yes, Sith Empire Trooper is needed for. Wait, hold on. Sith Empire Trooper is the pilot for. Oh, and yes, if you notice in chat, Stream Elements, I have started a promotion for Raid Shadow Legends, but I haven't officially kind of kicked it off. Oh, that sucks, Hippo. Sith Empire Trooper is needed as the pilot for. Well, he's needed at Relic 7, and then he flies this one, the Mark 6, I think. But yeah, I've kicked off a promotion for Raid Shadow Legends. Here's a link. There's a lot of goals involved with it. I haven't officially kicked it off. I've just launched it the other night. I'm going to officially kick it off this weekend. I'm going to do a stream for it. But if you've never played Raid Shadow Legends, I haven't even played it yet. I've got the game installed, but I figure I'm going to start doing it out on stream. If you're interested in Raid Shadow Legends, there's a link right there, and clicking the link and playing the game will help earn me a little bit of money. So Malik for unfortunately HK47 is one of these characters that has kind of fallen to the wayside. So solo journeys. Yeah, I think you need HK. I think for this stuff right here. But once Malgus came along and Malgus kind of changed the game for the Sith Empire. If you don't have Malgus, the team I used to run before Malgus came along. Hang on, let me figure out where we're at. So this is all Sith Empire. The Sith Empire team I used to run pre-Malgus was Darth Revan, Darth Malak, HK, Bastila, and Marauder. That's the team I used to run. As you see, I got a Zeta on HK. But then once Malgus became a thing, it's Malgus, Revan, Malak, Bastila, Marauder. Oh, I love HK47. This guy, So, I was, how old was I? 23, I think. 22, 23 when the original KOTOR was released. And I didn't even know it was coming. I just saw it in a store called Hastings. It was a chain that used to be out on the West Coast where I grew up. I think they're out of business now. I had no idea the game was coming, saw it, bought it blind, played it. It quickly became my favorite game of all time. And in no small part due to this guy. Love this character so much. Loved the writing, loved the voice acting, loved everything about him. And yeah, he just... Yeah, HK does good with droids. Like you put him with droid. Like you put him under Sortie here. Sortie's kind of like the new default droid leader, and he does some good things. You can put him with Grievous too. You can put him under Grievous lead. Yeah, he's great with Darth Revan. He's very kind of specifically though anti-Jedi. So he's not quite as plug and play. Oh, we got ads coming in, folks, just FYI. He's not quite as plug and play as other Sith Empire characters are, but he's still a character you can definitely find some use for. He's just just kind of like, a lot of the members of Phoenix when Rex came along, like Zeb. I suppose there's probably specific counters and specific setups you would use where you'd plug Zeb in, but for the most part, Zeb's on the bench. And he's just, he's a crew member on a ship, and that's basically it. Kind of the same with Sabine, although if you're going up against Inquisitors, Sabine can help, but Sabine and Zeb are kind of pushed off of this team now. Is there anyone? Well, okay. So Jedi Revan, is probably, other than Jedi Master Luke, he's probably your best pure Jedi lead. I mean, you can make an argument that Jedi Knight Luke is better or as good. Like, you can make an argument, but Jedi Knight Revan is very, 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 very good character. Because his buffs kind of go everywhere. So if I have a soft spot for Sabine too, Bean, I did. Okay, well, hang on. Let's talk Jedi Revan real quick first. Hey, honey. So you look at his kit. His stuff benefits all Jedi equally. So you can put him in command of any Jedi team, and it'll be just fine. Any combination of Jedi. The only, there's some... Thank you, honey. There's some call-outs here where, some of Luke's stuff doesn't interact with Old Republic quite so well. But yeah, if you don't have Jedi Master Luke, you can put Jedi Knight Revan in charge of any team of Jedi, and it'll be just fine, and you can kick Bastila to the curb. Although she's still a good character. If I'm going up against an Admiral Raddus in 3v3, my team of choice to kill that is Jedi Knight Revan, Bastila, and Grandmaster Yoda. That's my team of choice. Unfortunately, her kit is very, very tied to Revan. So now she is a good leader in her own right. You can put Bastila over Jedi Knight Cal, do Bastila, Jedi Knight Cal, and Mace Windu, and it can actually kill Malgus. There's a lot of cases, some more situational than others. But yeah, you don't need to have these two glued at the hip. You can do a lot of things with them. Yeah, I mean, if we had seen any signs of Sabine being a Jedi in Rebels, it probably wouldn't have struck me as odd as it did. Because I've watched Rebels from start to finish a couple of times. I came to it late because there's a podcast I listen to called Tell 'em Steve Dave. One of the hosts of Tell 'em Steve Dave is Brian Quinn, who is on the TV show Impractical Jokers. And during COVID, he had a lot of time on his hands, and he had decided to watch Rebels. And what was I doing? Night Sisters, that's right. And he put out on Twitter that he thought Rebels was a kid's show when he first saw it, and that's why he ignored it. And he decided to give it a chance, and he said, I could not have been more wrong. It's awesome. And because of that, I gave it a chance. And he was right. He was 100% right. Why am I putting Asajj in there? And she needs mods still. And it quickly generated some of my absolute favorite moments in Star Wars. They did a fantastic job with that show. But I don't remember them saying a single time that Sabine was force sensitive. Like, I don't remember Kanan giving that impression. And Kanan was trying to teach her to use the Darksaber and didn't bring up the Force or anything like that. So I don't know. It feels like something they kind of shoehorned in, which is not my favorite storytelling method. Let's try to make something fit. But, also it didn't turn me off enough to make me not like the show. I liked the show. A big reason I liked the show. Sorry about that. My bad lungs acting up. Says he goes with Bastila, Jolie, Yoda, and Kenobi. They might mean Old Ben. Because, yeah, that combination is no tank. If they're talking General Kenobi, they're probably meaning Old Ben. So he has a tank. That's just my guess. It's that Kenobi is supposed to be Old Ben. But I mean, I legitimately liked the Ahsoka show. I liked it a lot. They did some amazing things, especially as kind of like live action Rebels goes. They really truly did some amazing things. But the character that really made me love that show, unfortunately passed away. Ray Stevenson passed away. They said they're going to recast it. That's great. That's all well and good. Hey, assholes. You're not normally a good team. I don't know why you're trying to flex on me. But yeah, the Sabine being a Jedi thing, I just if they had just given a singular hint or indication that she was force sensitive in Rebels, would not have bothered me as much as it turns out it did. But it's a choice. They made their choice. We don't always, we definitely hardly ever get a say. And they're definitely doing a second season. Hey, Legion, how you doing? I'm just conquesting, trying to do stuff with Night Sisters. One of my least used things, just in general. Conquesting and smoking salmon. That's two good things. Well, it's one great thing with one good thing. And the great thing is the smoked salmon. And conquest is the other thing. Okay, so I cannot really take Imperial troopers against Jedi or against Jedi. I must be tired or dumb. I've gone dumb. Against Ewoks because of their stupid booby traps. Whenever an enemy targets an Ewok ally while attacking at a turn, that enemy is stunned for 1 turn at the end of the turn. So I would like to start using Imperial troopers, but they just don't work. But also, I feel like my Night Sisters are trash, so I don't know if they're going to be able to do it. Well, I mean, so do you have Commander Luke Skywalker? Is he on your radar at all? Because you need old Ben for Commander Luke. So definitely not a waste. Plus old Ben for, I believe, no, he's not required. He might be required for him. Yeah. For Jedi Master Luke. So definitely some double dipping there. Yeah, not a waste. And I mean, also, not for nothing, but why old Ben when you had to level up Juhani? Like, she's not the best tank in the game, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, if you have Juhani sitting around there, you don't really need to rush old Ben. I mean, not really. But, I mean, and also, Mace Windu, perfectly viable tank for a Jedi team. Yeah, I'm not going to even talk about Plo. But, yeah, you have more options than just old Ben. You have Juhani and you have Mace. If you have either of them higher than him, if you don't want to go after CLS, or at least if you're not in a hurry to go after CLS and these two are already higher, there's no need to throw resources at him when you can just throw them at one of these two. So, food for thought. I mean, just something to keep in mind. There's other ways, because I mean, I did Juhani. She was my tank for the longest time. I never threw old Ben with Jedi Knight Revan. All right, we'll see if my trash sisters can do this or not. I would suspect that Kenobi, I think he's probably the first choice, because I think whoever made that team up in their head or whatever, or wherever you got that information from, well, I mean, so CLS will lead to Jedi Knight Luke, which is a requirement for Jabba, who is a requirement for Jedi Master Luke, who's a requirement for Leia Organa. So yeah, there's kind of a Jedi Knight Luke is kind of a hinge character, and he's freaking awesome on top of it all. But yeah, I think whoever threw that guide together probably probably suggested that because as a new person starting the game, Old Ben is one of those characters that you just kind of get. Okay, so we got like 5 battles left, and then I'm not doing more refreshes. Old Ben's is one of those characters you kind of get. So I think they expect, like, if you're following the journey guide the way you're supposed to, or the way that it's kind of like a pyramid down, you start at the top with Yoda and Palp, and then you go down to like Thrawn and BB-8 and all those guys. I think if you're following the guide from the top to the bottom, you would have CLS unlocked, or you'd be working on him, which means have worked on Old Ben, and he would probably be available to you before you got to Revan. So to me, that person is making an assumption. That's just my guess. But yeah, if you have Mace and Juhani, and you're working on a lot of stuff, I don't think there's a need to stop what you're doing to go for CLS, especially like if you don't have Stormtrooper Han, if you don't have Farm Boy Luke. If you don't have Leia, I think you need Princess Leia, Farm Boy Luke. Do you need R2? I think you need R2. God damn it. My old brain don't retain the information like it used to. I think you need R2. Yeah. Yeah, you need R2. So, you see the flow to the journey guide. Tier 1, you're going to start off earning these 2, and then you're going to come down here and earn these 3. And then, when you're somewhere around in here, you're going to be working on these guys. You just need last tier. Yeah, so I needed last tier for a long time. And then I couldn't get it done with what I had. And then I went for Sith Eternal, so I had to relic Count Dooku to like relic 4 or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden I was just like, Padme unlocked. It just kind of worked out that way. Most folks will tell you to get Geos. But yeah, I think whoever wrote that suggestion is just like, oh, well, if you're, I hate to say the word typical player, but let's just say typical player. You start off, go for these guys, you go for these guys. Then you get down here and, CLS, you kind of the most accessible, legendary character. And he's still a very good, very viable character. But he would kind of be the first one that's accessible to you. I think they just probably expect like the flow of things that you would have landed here already. But I don't think Old Ben is the top choice. He just might be the most accessible choice, or in that person's opinion, he might be the most accessible choice or the logical one because in theory you should, in air quotes, have him already. God, do I want to even try this against G? Screw it. Hey, Bones, how you doing, brother? I am just, we're conquesting and theory crafting and just talking shit and talking shop. Oh, nothing. We got back from supper, and then I needed to sit down and stream today, so we did TB. I did my mission to unlock Zepho on my main account, and well, I still am on my main account. The Conquest is not really worth streaming on my alt account because I'm doing easy mode, and it's just terrible in easy mode. But yeah, we've just been talking like we were talking. We talked about Deadpool and Wolverine a few minutes ago, and we just had kind of I'm not going to say a rant, but kind of we got into the talking about how, Sabine is a Jedi now, allegedly. And, so we talked about Ahsoka and, about the fact that they established absolutely zero of her being force sensitive in Rebels, and then magically she was a failed Padawan of Ahsoka. Yeah, no, Deadpool is fucking great. I can't wait for it to, who am I fighting again? God damn it. My memory is very, very, Star Killer. Imperial Imperial Troopers. I'm not doing Night Sisters. That's just a recipe for disaster. Let's try the Troopers out. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like Anakin sort of finished her training. I don't. I mean, there is a discussion that probably needs to be had, and I think Filoni is probably the guy that needs to lead the discussion about what being a Jedi actually means. Like, is it just being a part of the Order? Is that the only thing that matters? Because I feel, what the hell? Why can't I? Thank you. Like, if being in the Order is all that matters, then okay. And Ahsoka is definitely a little more, she'll kill a motherfucker and not even think twice about it, which I guess is maybe not completely what some people would say is, let me click on Dark Trooper. Thank you. What the hell is happening? Some people would say is not really Jedi, but, I would argue that Jedi have always killed when they've had to, and they do it well. And they, typically do it without hesitation. So, like, Ahsoka is clearly a light sider. And she uses the Force, she uses Jedi weapons, she uses Jedi techniques. I mean, she might be more than a Jedi, but she's not dark. She's gray. At worst, you could say she's gray, but is she a gray Jedi? Well, then she, I don't know. It's a very complicated discussion, and it's a fun one because you can theory craft all you want, but to say that she's not a Jedi, I think is probably inaccurate. But it's also just to call her a Jedi is probably also probably not doing her the justice that it deserves just because of her journey. It's kind of like if you ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic, and you did, because you had the light side journey there and you had the dark side journey depending on your character, and I did both. And there was a big storyline that wrapped around Revan. Where it kind of felt like they had pushed him to where he has a line in it when you're fighting. Spoiler alert, you fight him. This game is 15 years old, but I'm still going to say spoiler alert because some little bitch out there is going to get pissy that I didn't. So 5, 4, 3, 2, fuck you. Spoilers, here they come. As a light sider, you free him. And then as a dark sider, you fight him and seemingly kill him. While you're fighting him, he has a line where he goes, "You've never faced anyone like me. I was Sith. I am Jedi." And he doesn't say I am a Jedi. He says he's Jedi, which implies that it's not the Order, but it's a mentality. It's a philosophy that he's following. And to say that Ahsoka isn't following that philosophy in a very similar way to Revan is not right. She is definitely following that philosophy. She definitely serves the light. She just serves it in her own way. And she's serving it as a way. She's a person who's died. She died. Spoiler alert. Fuck you. Watch Rebels. She dies. She comes back. Or Ezra brings her back because he goes to the world between worlds. He sees her through a portal. He pulls her through, saves her, removes her from the point in time where she was killed. And then we don't see her again. We don't know what she was doing for the rest of the rebellion. We don't know if she hid. We don't know any of that. Oh, fuck you, Bad Batch. So we don't know any of that stuff. Yeah, I should have grabbed somebody different for this. But she's been on a journey that's pretty unique for any Jedi. So I feel like she is, why am I even still sitting here? Let's just exit this. Yeah, she's more than a standard Jedi, but she's definitely a Jedi. There's just, in the fact of the matter is, in her order, or in her world, there's been no Jedi order for her to follow through. But I kind of feel like when we had that whole episode with her and Anakin, he said he was finishing her training. He was teaching her the final lesson. My brother likes to think that the journey is going to be that she's not going to leave Peridia, and that she's might find a way to send Sabine home, but she's going to stay, and she's actually going to join up with Balin, and they're going to recreate the Mortis gods. And Balin's going to be the father, she's going to be the daughter, and then somebody else will be the brother. Right, exactly. And Ahsoka is 100% good. 100% good. And now she's good in a way where she can be absolutely ruthless in combat. Like when they reintroduced her, brought her into live action on The Mandalorian. I mean, she was straight up being a ninja going through the forest, just cutting throats. She was just killing motherfuckers because she wanted to get to Morgan Elsbeth. She was just murking fools, no hesitation. Hey, Teddy, get down. Goddamn dog. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Get down. All right. Oh, he's like Sam. He doesn't listen either. Yeah, Gray. People like to say Gray because they think it sounds cool. Like, oh, they're gray. They're chaotic neutral. They're whatever. It's like, it's not like she was murdering innocent people. She was killing soldiers who were trying to kill her. So, I mean, she's a warrior. She's not murdering people needlessly. She's eliminating an objective that's in between, or she's eliminating the barrier in between her and her objective. And she's doing it in a very ruthless way. But that's kind of realistic. You don't babyfoot around in a war and try to kill people in the gentlest way possible. You eliminate the threat. So while it might be shocking, because that's the first live action we've ever really seen a Jedi kind of going ham. Yeah. Well, I actually don't think Balin is... Okay. So we're about to get into settle in. It's getting late for me here on the East Coast, but settle in for a second. We're gonna deep dive and fuck Conquest. Fuck Conquest. I'll fucking sim my dailies while we talk about this shit. I don't think Balin is bad. I don't think Balin's evil. I think when you're talking about choices and morality, and with a lot of things, the thing that is left out is intent. Balin, I think, is doing what Balin feels like he has to do. In the same way, when Obi-Wan, when we've seen him fight Anakin twice live action, well, 3 times if you want to count A New Hope, but we've seen him fight Anakin twice live action, and in 2 of those times, he has looked at Anakin and said, I will do what I must. And I think that's what Balin is doing. I think Balin is doing what he feels he has to do. Balin feels like he's being pulled in a direction, and he's swimming that current, and, sometimes he has to make ugly choices. It would be very interesting to see what would have happened on that Republic ship if they had just given up Morgan. If they hadn't resisted his, like, we're here for her, just give her to us and whatever, like, would he have just gone on his way and not slaughtered everybody on that ship? Yeah, I mean, So Thanos thought his motivation was the correct one. He thought Thanos had deluded himself to thinking he was a savior. And he had to save everybody by destroying. Thanos was a victim of his own mentality. Balin, I think, is just doing what he thinks he has to do because he's obviously feeling some pull towards Peridia and like, oh, this is how I'm going to get there. She knows Thrawn's there, blah, blah, blah. I think he's just walking the path. And, he definitely did not, I don't think he wanted to fight Ahsoka. Like, he does a lot of talking. For a guy that's just like, he's trying to talk people out of fighting him and out of resisting him. It's just like, look, hey, like I will fight you. Yeah, they'll make him dark side. They'll make him dark side for sure. I just think he's more complex than that. I'm not going to say he's gray because the gray tag I think is just overused, but they could make him neutral. They could make him neutral. It would be interesting. Shin seems to enjoy the killing part. Balin, I think, killed because he had to. I don't think he enjoyed it. Shin, on the other hand, strikes me as just pure psychopath. But he's also, he's also training her. But Balin also, I don't think I'm going to have to watch the show now because this is going to stick in my head. But he also lumped Shin in with Ezra, what they call them, Boken Jedi who weren't trained in the temple, but they were trained in other ways. So he considers Shin a Jedi, or at least trained in that tradition. So I don't know. I would be, he left the order. So, I don't know. It's very complicated. And I like that about Filoni is that he does give, he gives a lot of things to discuss and think about. But I didn't get the impression that Balin was necessarily evil. I just feel like he was a guy that had this goal, he had this path, and he was going to do whatever he had to do to accomplish it. I could be wrong. He could just be an absolute monster. He could be the brother. He could be the embodiment of the dark side, but I don't get dark side from him. Like, I can't remember, did he force choke anybody? I know he didn't use lightning. So like, and also he had the orange lightsaber, and Filoni said that there's a reason for the orange lightsaber, but I don't think they've ever revealed it. For a while there before Disney took over Star Wars, purple was supposed to be the color. Yeah, I think I did a rewatch, but it was like on in the background a while ago. Purple was supposed to be the lightsaber color for characters who were light but walked very close to the dark side. And that's why, like Revan had a purple lightsaber. Mara had a purple lightsaber. Mace had a purple lightsaber because Mace's lightsaber technique, Vapad, was like very, very close to a dark side thing because of how aggressive it was. And that was kind of like what they said. That's why purple lightsabers are so rare, but that's what their meaning is, So what's the meaning of the orange? If the colors of the sabers matter, and Filoni said, there's a reason, there's a meaning, they just didn't tell us. Maybe they'll tell us in the next season, maybe they'll tell us in another source. I don't know. Shin, evil. Balin, complicated. I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm very, very hesitant to just call him a bad guy. Because he was also the best character on the show by far. And as much as I don't want to talk about the Acolyte, it's in the same vein of things. Kamir was the best part about that show. And why they didn't make him the focus of the show, I will never know, because I don't think that show's going to get a second season to explore anything further. And it's a real shame, because one, the actor did a tremendous job. Manny Jacinto, I think his name is. But he in maybe also kind of a low bar with the Acolyte for sure, but he was by far the best thing about that show. Him and Saul, the actors did what they could with a shitty script. No, Kamir was straight up evil, but he was more interesting than the twins. He was more interesting than the Force Witches. He was more interesting than all of it. And they didn't make him the focus of the show, and I think they should have. Because obviously he was the bald green skid Venestra. He was her apprentice, and she thought she had killed him when they had a falling out or whatever. Like, it's, to me, very obvious that that's what happened. And that's why he wore the helmet, and when she sensed him, he freaked out and got the helmet back on. But yeah, he was a straight up bad guy. But he was also the most interesting part of the show. So, just in that same way that Balin was the best part of Ahsoka. And it's not even close. And no offense to Rosario, she did awesome. I cannot remember the name of the young woman who played Sabine, but she did just fine. The kid that played Ezra was great, but Ray Stevens' performance as Balin Skull hands down stole the show for me. And it's just a shame that he died. It's great that they're going to recast him and continue the story and continue the character, but it's a shame that Ray Stevenson passed away, because I mean, he acted the shit out of that. But yeah, I get so much complexity from Balin. God, I had so many of these before Jar Jar thing. Yes, they have confirmed him being recast. Well, I mean, yeah, cut out all of it. Get rid of the twins. Get rid of the witches. Even or do the. Okay, so get rid of the twins, but do just one of the sisters. He's a guy who's looking for his own apprentice, maybe because he wants to overthrow Plagueis, But he was by far and away the most interesting thing. Or make it to where he corrupted the twin to be his instrument of revenge to draw his old master out so he could kill her. There's a million things they could have done, but yeah, they decided to make a convoluted garbage heap of a show. Which had some cool lightsaber. It had some moments I liked. I'm not completely trashing on the show. It had some moments I liked. I thought the fight scenes were very well done. They're not Duel of the Fates. Pull your head out of your ass. Well, yeah, but that also eliminates Tenebris, because Plagueis was supposed to be the apprentice of Tenebris. And Palpatine is supposed to be Plagueis' apprentice. So Plagueis is alive like 100 years earlier than he should be, but so's Ki-Adi-Mundi. I mean, fuck canon, right? We'll just change the canon to fit our story. We won't change our story to fit the canon. No. We don't care that this has been okay, now I'm just getting pissed. Because, yeah, Plagueis isn't even supposed to be alive. So, I mean, set all that aside, but he's not even supposed to have been born yet. And, yeah, we'll just alter shit. It's fine. Oh, by the way, Ki-Adi-Mundi was apparently senile, sitting on the Jedi Council when he's like, the Sith have been gone for millennia. Never mind that we ran into one, We ran into one a little ways back, but, we're also apparently assholes who, cover up things, because apparently Jedi are bad guys deep down. I don't know, but yeah, no, anyway, Balin did not just give me pure You're not interrupting anything, Sensa. You jump in whenever you feel like. GK and Revenant GK equal negotiator, and that confirm Grievous team with Stapp, and then I'll get Padme, and then GK can bet. I think that's a good plan. Yeah, there's a concept, Bones. What if Palpatine was the acolyte? Instead of, however many apprentices that Plagueis it turns out he's going to end up having by the time it's all said and done. It's a novel concept, like, oh, hey, we've got this established lore. Why don't we see what we can do with it? Nah, we're just going to make up this story because we feel like it. All right, that's cool. You're going to piss people off. We don't care. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I could go on for a very, very, very long time. Yeah, this is, so I'm clearly, an old man. Okay, guys, ads are coming in 3 minutes. There's not much I can do about that. I'm sorry. I've snoozed them quite a bit. But yeah, Balin, I don't get pure evil from Balin. I don't, because he legitimately could have just straight up killed Ahsoka when he had her. She was down, her hand was injured, she just had the one saber up against the cliff. He chose to knock her off instead of, and maybe give her a chance to live, as opposed to just straight up murdering her, when he could have just straight up murdered her. Made a deal with Sabine that he kind of forced Thrawn into honoring. Didn't actively get involved in the fight until like Ahsoka basically showed up to distract him. And then once she pulled her little thing and got away, he was just like, okay. And then he walked away. So yeah, like I don't get raving, evil madman from that. I get a guy who's doing what he thinks he has to do because he thinks he's on a path to something. He thinks he's got a higher calling. So curious to see where they go from that, but yeah, it was definitely nice to see some pushback against the crap from Hollywood. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of an old man, relatively speaking. I'm in my 40s. I grew up in a much different world than what we live in now. I grew up with a much different kind of movies and shows than they're making now. Game of Thrones is about the most, raunchy, whatever style show that they're, HBO still makes some cutting edge stuff, but you can't shake a stick without seeing agendas from one side or the other being pushed into stuff. And it's just like it used to be made for everybody. Like there used to be movies and shows used to be made for the broadest audiences possible. And now it seems like a lot of places are making them for the narrowest audience possible. Well, we want this show to appeal to this person. We want this show to appeal to that person, instead of making it try to appeal for everybody. Everybody likes to laugh. Everybody likes to laugh. Everybody likes a good story. And these are things that I think are being forgotten, like quality of writing is very, very important. And especially we should have an appreciation for that, because there was just a big writer strike, where these guys in Hollywood were like, we're worried about AI doing our jobs for us. We're worried that our importance to the medium is being ignored. And, we want to make sure that that's protected. And there's a part of me that wonders if the writer strike isn't part of the reason that the quality has been as bad as it's been, because those good writers were striking. And then if companies wanted to keep going forward with their projects, they had to use the non-SAG people. So we've seen that before. I'm old enough to remember the last writer's strike when, when the last time a writer's strike happened, a big one, we were in a heyday of television. And this was before, this was right when Netflix was starting to think about getting into streaming. But Netflix, the only way it worked was you got onto the website and you made a queue for your movies, and then they'd send you the first 3 if they had them, whatever plan you were subscribed to, and then you would send them back, and then you would get more movies. It was wild, man. It was wild getting physical DVDs in a packet that you would put in the mail and send back. But there were shows like Heroes and Lost and just fantastic television that was being made that were just completely destroyed and derailed by the original writer's strike. And it kind of feels like timing-wise, that's a little bit of what we're getting now, is that these quality writers, these awesome writers, were on the picket line. And that, they, projects being what they were, these content creators needed, these places need the content. They need these shows. They need these movies. So they pushed ahead with whatever they could get, non-SAG people, whatever. That's just my theory. And I'm hoping that that's going away. And I'm hoping that, maybe places are starting to realize that, hey, it's okay to make a movie funny and tell some inappropriate jokes, because our intent is not to hurt people. Our intent is to make people laugh. And you know what? Making people laugh sometimes means you're turning a mirror on people, and you're turning a mirror on yourself, and you're laughing at yourself. Because if you can't laugh at yourself, then I hate to break it to you, you got a problem. You need to be able to laugh at yourself. You need to be able to laugh at everything. You need to not take offense. Not everybody's trying to hurt you. A joke isn't necessarily trying to hurt you. A joke is just trying to make people laugh. Self-deprecating humor is kind of my wheelhouse. How many times in this conversation have I called myself old? I'm not old. I'm in my mid-40s. I am not an old man, but comparative to a lot of other people, I am an old man. I remember a different world. I remember a world before cell phones. I saw Return of the Jedi in the theater when I was a little kid. Like the original run of it, not the let's add CGI and let's have, Darth Vader go, no, none of that shit. The original, little kid in a movie theater in Idaho with my mom and dad. Little kid, I was maybe that big. I don't know. AOL, yes, I had AOL. I had American Online as internet in one of my first apartments. I know the modems. Dun, 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 dun. I know modems. I mean, I've lived in a very different world, and I've seen a lot of styles of movies and franchises and everything else come and go. It would be nice to get back to a world that was fun. There's a lot of horrible shit that goes on in this world. And a movie like Deadpool, which made fun of a lot of it, which made fun of a lot of things, including itself, was fun. And inappropriate jokes are fun. So, yeah. Yeah, that's why I think Deadpool has done so well. And I hope the movie studios pay attention. That people obviously resonated with the humor of Deadpool, and that, maybe it's okay for us to make movies like that again. Maybe it's okay to make television like that again. I don't know. I'm a blunt person. I have my opinions about a lot of things. But one thing that I hold firm is I will always speak my mind. But I'm never trying to hurt somebody's feelings. But simultaneously, I'm going to speak my mind. Dad, that's the best. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's amazing. That's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to, I don't take joy in hurting people. I don't ever want to hurt people with words or any other way. This is not what I'm about. But that said, I am about speaking what's on my mind and giving my opinion. And my opinion is not formed in a manner that is trying to hurt you. If it happens to hurt you, I'm sorry it hurt you. I'm not sorry I said it, but I'm sorry I hurt you. But I don't go out of my way to hurt people. It's not my intent to hurt people. And if I accidentally hurt somebody, then I will own up to that and I will apologize and try to make it right. But that's not my intent. Oh, yep. Hey, dude. Yeah, we'll see on Thursday. I will be on the Three Scoundrels podcast with Bones on Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern time. So, yeah, be sure to tune into that and you can see more of my ugly face and hear us talk about all sorts of shit. It should be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. And yeah, I have to go soon myself. It's 11 o'clock here on the East Coast, but I've had a great stream, my friend. Thank you so much. I picked up a couple of followers and I'm 8 away from getting a new chair. My wife is panicking. But yeah, okay, so yeah, Sensa. Yeah, that's a good plan. Plus, yeah, you're farming the General Grievous team with Stapp, and yeah, that'll get you Padme and everything else. Yeah, that's a fantastic plan. You're very analytical about the game, and I think that's fantastic. So yeah, just keep it up. Just keep it up. Oh yeah, no, the Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it is still to this day. The show hasn't aired a new episode in a month? Still today. It's an amazing show. It's an amazing show. You guys are big. See, that's the thing. I am a lot of things. But I am allowed to like what I want to like and not like what I not want to like. And not be called a bigot or a racist because I didn't like a Star Wars show. I think that is horrendous. Like, you're accusing somebody or a group of somebodies of one of the worst things you can accuse them of. Because they didn't like a show that you liked. Oh, it's because it has colored people. Really? Because it has women and colored people? I grew up with women and people of color. My mom's a woman. My grandmas were women. My wife is a woman. My sister's a woman. I do not have a problem with women. My sister-in-law is African American. I grew up in a town in Washington State that had a college. We had people from all over the world in my high school. From Africa and Mongolia and China and Japan. And I mean, probably 14 countries. We had Pakistanis. We had people from Lebanon. There was a guy that came to my school. He joined was I in 5th grade? His dad was killed fighting the Russians in Afghanistan. His dad was in the Taliban when the Russians were invading. I grew up in a melting pot. I do not have a problem with people based on the color of their skin, and I certainly don't have a problem with a TV show because it features people of that skin color. I thought the writing and the storytelling in The Acolyte was dog shit. And it has nothing to do with anything else. And guess what? The writing and the storytelling included things like apparently lesbian space witches and weird-ass chants and all the other things. Grievous team. The Grievous team you need, unfortunately, is like a lot of the other teams. It's situational. It kind of depends on what you're doing. Droideka has a territory war Omicron, so he's great there. B2 is a staple. But Droideka, depending on your activity, you could, like, if you're in TW, you would drop... who do we drop? I'm trying to remember who we drop from our lineups when we're putting Grievous on defense. I think we drop B2. Okay, well, I think we drop B2 in Territory War, but then in Grand Arena, we drop Droideka. I think that's how we do it. I think that's our recommendation. I'm a sucker for Star Wars too. I try to like I did not sit down to watch The Acolyte hoping I hated it. And you know what? Even though it was not my favorite thing in the world, I watched every episode, and I've watched every episode multiple times. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is I want them to make more. Not necessarily more Acolyte, but I want more Star Wars. It's the same if you look behind me here on the camera. You're going to see some posters. That's Optimus Prime, signed by Peter Cullen. That's Megatron, signed by Frank Welker. I was a kid in the 80s. I grew up on the Transformers. I watch every single live action movie in the theater. I buy every single live action movie because I want them to make more. And I treat Star Wars the same way. I want them to keep making these stories. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we watch them. We don't have to like everything we see. And we never will like everything we see. But I watch it nonetheless. So, you know, take that for what you will. I did not go into The Acolyte wanting to hate it. And I wouldn't even say I hate it. It is not what it should have been, in my opinion. It is not as good as it should have been. And I think its biggest problem is really the writing was shit because they were trying to do too much. Well, the writing was shit because they probably didn't have great writers, but they tried to do too much with the show. They tried to tell too many stories. I worked in restaurants for a long time. And one of the best bosses I've ever had was at a restaurant in Alaska. And he told me something that has stuck with me forever. And that it's simple sells. Simple sells. Keep things simple. You know, keep things simple and it'll sell. And I think The Acolyte was a victim of its ambition. Because it takes a very, very, very talented writer to have 14 interconnected storylines going and have it all make sense. Well, yeah, but they also more or less showed the same episode twice, trying to tell the story from two different perspectives. And you didn't really gain anything new from any of those perspectives, you know, except for the fact that Soul thought he was doing what was right. And yeah, spoiler alert, yeah, he stabbed the main space witch, Anastasia or whatever her name was. And there was a Wookiee fight. Big fucking deal. They tried to do too much. And they tried to do too much, and then they, you know, unfortunately for them, decided that they were going to tamper with some established Star Wars lore. And guess what? If you're a Star Wars nerd, you know the lore. You know, you've watched the content, you've consumed the content, or you've read it on Wikipedia up and down and up and down and up and down. You know, the fact of the matter is, there's an army of people on Twitter, especially, defending The Acolyte. And it's the same army of people who defend The Last Jedi. My opinion on that is if you need an army to convince people that the product that you're putting out is good, then the product wasn't good. If the product cannot stand on its own, then it's not good. If The Acolyte was good, there would be no debate about The Acolyte being good or bad. Because it was questionable, there's debate. So you have to acknowledge that the product was not great. At the very least, you have to acknowledge that the product was not great. And why there's this big campaign to try to convince people otherwise, I don't know. Because all it's doing is making those people who didn't like it hate it even more. Oh, well, the woman that did The Acolyte wants to do Revan. So my opinion is they need to keep her as far away from that as they can. That needs to be handled with care by somebody who fucking knows what they're doing. Like they need to get the guy who created the character and who's wrote the character. Drew Karpyshyn, I think his name is. They need to get him involved. And yeah, and they need to get somebody who knows what they're doing, because if they want to destroy Star Wars, then they'll fuck up Revan. That will be the surest way to begin the end of Star Wars, is by fucking up Revan. Because ask anybody, if you look at the numbers for Galaxy of Heroes, just as your baseline, Old Republic stuff, and especially stuff about Revan, is some of their highest revenue generating stuff. And why is that, do you think? It's because people fucking love Revan. So, yeah. Yeah. So whoever they get to do that, they better know their shit, because they're going to be under the most powerful microscope ever. And I will be one of the people looking through that microscope. Normally I don't. Normally I just try to accept the projects for what they are and roll with it that way. But with a Revan project, they better fucking get it right. Dude, I loved Solo. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought that Aldrin Emmerich was fantastic. I liked the Maul stuff. I thought Kira was cool. Donald Glover is great and everything. So, of course, he killed it as young Lando, which I think they said they're not doing that young Lando thing anymore. I don't think they're going to make that show. I just read an article the other day. It doesn't seem like that's happening, which is too bad. But yeah, Solo was great. I would like them to do another movie with him, with that young Solo thing. Or do the logical thing and bring them into the Disney Plus shows, the young characters. They have a young Solo, they recast him. Wow, the bots are aggressive tonight. They have a young Han Solo. Mark Hamill has more or less given his blessing, not that he needs to give his blessing. Disney can do whatever they want. To Sebastian Stan to play a young Luke. So there's two of the three. And unfortunately, Carrie's passed away. But, her daughter, Billie Lourd, is still around. So, maybe just cast Billie as young Leia and let's fucking go. And bring them into Disney Plus and let's start doing some things, I don't know. It's all above my pay grade. I'm just an old asshole who likes to give his opinions. But, kids, it's been 3 hours and 15 minutes. It is 11:18 on the East Coast, and I have got to get to bed. Yeah, I think they should do a young Leia thing. Leia is so important. A guy my age, my first crush was Princess Leia. Like, ask anybody in my age group who is a Star Wars fan who their first crush was. I guarantee you Princess Leia is going to be the name that comes up a lot. Her, Sigourney Weaver, Princess Leia, yeah. I don't know. She deserves to be more than a name mentioned by C-3PO in Ahsoka. She deserves to live on in some way. The Rey movie. I'm hopeful. I'm cautiously optimistic. I will go and see it. I will go and watch those movies. I thought Daisy Ridley did great. I think she's a wonderful actress. I have nothing against Daisy Ridley. She did the best she could with the stories that were given her. She's not the one writing the fucking scripts. She has no control over that. And I think she's fantastic. I have no problem with Daisy Ridley. Mary Sue, whatever. It's that part's over and done with. There's nothing we can do about it. I'm not going to hate on the actress or the character for the decisions writers and studios made. That's ridiculous. But I hope it's good. Oh, that is really cool. I think they'll bring him back. I think they can get him back. He's not, I mean, when was the last time? I haven't seen him in anything since Rise of Skywalker. Because I know he was very vocal and angry, and, you know, maybe justifiably so, but I think they'll get him back. I'm not sure about Oscar Isaac, but I think they can get Finn back. I think they can get him back. Harrison Ford was done with it too, and they've managed to get him back. So, you know, even for small bit parts and whatever, but well, yeah, but you know, that was another part of the problem with, oh God, don't get me going on the sequel trilogy. I'll be here for another 3 hours. Is they clearly, when they started making those movies, they should have had one director for all three, one team of writers for all three. Cohesive story, boom, boom, boom. Instead of having, it was JJ and then Rian Johnson, then it was supposed to be Gareth Edwards, and Gareth Edwards got fired, and then JJ came back in. Like the original version of the third movie, if you can Google it, you can go and find what the original story was supposed to be. And it is so unbelievably, vastly, crazily different than what we got. It would blow your mind how good that story sounds, and then compare it to what we got, which again is unfair to compare like a concept to you know what was actually ended up happening because of the way the world works, but they clearly did not have a cohesive plan. Like if you're going to make a trilogy, you need to have, this is what needs to happen in this movie, this is what needs to happen in this movie, this is what needs to happen in this movie. Not like we're going to do this and then this director is going to decide this, and then the next director is going to have to take from the first two and decide what to do with. Like, it should not have been that way, and that's what it felt like. So that to me, again, maybe trying to do too much, maybe trying to whatever, you know, whatever. It's very complex. I loved The Force Awakens. I was like, oh God, if this is new Star Wars, I'm in. This is amazing. And then you don't even get me started on The Last Jedi. There will be a time when I just will go off, and it'll either make me a celebrity or it'll make me one of the most hated people in the world. I don't know. We'll see when that day comes, because I have very strong opinions about The Last Jedi. Very, very strong opinions. But that is for another time. It might even come out on Thursday during this podcast when I'm on Three Scoundrels with Bones. Might even come out then. I don't know. But if not, me and my brother have a project in the works. It'll definitely come out then. So, and then we'll see where the chips fall. But guys, this has been some of the most fun I've had on a stream in a long time. So I thank everybody. I thank Bones. I thank Sensaw, Legion. I thank you for being here. He went silent on us, but my buddy Timmy from back home showed up and hung out. I think he left a while ago. But Hippo, thank you for coming. Thank you for chatting. This has been great. This is one of the most engaged chats we've had since I've started. I always sleep well. Oh, okay. Sensaw. If you're still there, who is the bad guy in The Last Jedi? I'm about to let one of my things fly for The Last Jedi, but I don't care. Who is the bad guy of The Last Jedi? Okay. Well, okay. So they're the Phantom Menace, the writers. But who is the bad guy on screen in The Last Jedi? Who is the on-screen bad guy? No. Well, yes. There are multiple evil people, but who is the bad guy in The Last Jedi? Okay. Spoiler alert, it's Holdo. Do you want to know why it's Holdo? I'll tell you why it's Holdo. Holdo is solely responsible for every bad thing that happens in that movie. All of it. And do you want to know why? And it's because of the writers. It's because of the writers, because of the choices they tried to make. Because the writers thought they were writing a strong woman, but what they were actually writing was a bad leader. They made Holdo a bad leader. Do you want to know why? There was zero harm in her telling the plan to Poe. Zero harm. Poe, dude, chill. You don't need to fight. We're on our way to this hidden planet. We're going to escape stealthily and we're going to hide. We're going to let the First Order go on by and think they've won, and then we're going to regroup and come out fighting. Oh, cool. That's the end of the movie. But because the writers thought what a strong woman is a person who is mean, because she was. She didn't need to be mean to Poe. Poe thought he was doing what was necessary. Poe wanted to fight because that's what he knows how to do. Poe wanted to fight. Poe was also not being a good leader, but Poe was doing what he knew how to do, which was fight. And he wanted to fight for the people he cared about. If Holdo had told him the plan, well, guess what? Rose and Finn don't go flying off to the casino planet. So none of that shit happens. Rey gets to go and train with Luke without any of that other shit happening. She doesn't end up having to go to, the ship, whatever. Holdo doesn't have to fly the destroyer through. She doesn't have to sacrifice herself. And more importantly, Luke doesn't have to show up in ghost form and die. Well, yeah, but Hux just said he doesn't care. He just wants Kylo to lose because, he got supplanted. He thought he was supposed to be the next leader of the First Order because his dad was the leader of the First Order, which we found out in The Mandalorian season 3. That he kind of felt like he'd been groomed for that his whole life. So, yeah, Holdo is the reason for every bad thing that happens in that movie up to and including Luke Skywalker dying. So, something to think about, something to chew on. We'll go into more depth later, but yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Everybody, thank you so much. It's been so much fun. But yeah, I got to go take some aspirin. My throat hurts from talking so much. And and then I got to get into bed and get some sleep. But I'll be back tomorrow for more streaming. And then, every day after that, I stream every day. Now that my vacation's done, my mom's flying back home tomorrow. So it will be back to normal. But yeah, we will see everybody tomorrow. Appreciate the follows that I picked up today. Speedy, thank you for the bits and the cheers. I appreciate you all. You're all making a difference in my life, and I appreciate you. And can't wait to see you again. And until then, take care.